We'll call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. I want to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, and the land on which we are meeting is the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Red River Métis Nation. As a council and a municipality, we will continue to work on moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I'll ask for a motion for the adoption of the minutes, please.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held at City Hall on July 13th, 2026 be adopted as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Espy, second by Councillor Nichols. All those in favor? And that is carried. We have no delegations this evening. I'll move to open public hearing request for variation PC 51-26 Meadowland Homes Limited for 36, 38, 40, and 42 First Street Southwest. I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in favor of this application.
Hi, I'm Jim Keaveney, owner of Meadowland Homes.
Thanks. Mr. Keaveney, would you like to make a statement or just answer questions?
I'll answer questions.
Okay, awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Keaveney before he sits down? Not at this point, so.
Very good.
Okay. Excellent. I'll ask if anyone else is here to speak in favor of this application. I'll ask if anyone is here to speak against this application. Again, anyone here to speak against the application? I'll ask if anyone has any questions about this application. Okay, Council, before we close the public hearing, this is your chance to ask Mr. Keaveney anything if you have any questions. Okay, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be resolved, and I so move that the public hearing for variation PC 51-26 Meadowland Homes Limited 36, 38, 40, and 42 First Street Southwest now be closed.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. All those in favor? And that is carried. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council, as indicated in front of you, file number PC 5126 is the request for variation with the applicant Meadowland Homes Limited. For your reference is the site plan for the area, a sketch, and an aerial view as well. The issue is to vary what is currently an R2 or a two-family dwelling zone. The applicant is requesting a reduction in the side width requirement from 15.2 meters down to 10.88 as indicated in the sketch. The side yard requirement of 4.6 down to 2.9 meters as well as indicated in the sketch. And the minimum dwelling unit requirement of 74 square meters down to 66.89. The background, as I just read, the owner would like to build two duplexes, and each one will have a party wall over the separating property line. The application has been circulated to various city departments. There's been no concerns. Public notices have been sent to all property owners within a 100-meter radius, and as you can see, there have been no objections. So it's administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the variation request of Meadowland Homes Limited to vary the following in an R2 two-family dwelling zone where the side width requirement of 15.2 meters is down to 10.88 and the side yard requirement of 4.6 meters down to 2.9 and that the minimum dwelling unit area requirement of 74 square meters down to 66.89, which is at the property known as 36, 38, 40, 42 First Street Southwest, which is legally described as lots 95 and 98, Plan 12 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments? Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to, for the record, state that I am actually a property owner that is within that 100-meter radius that did receive this notice as well. I declare there's no conflict of interest, and of course, any decisions that I make are made from the seat of this chair for the betterment, of course, of our community. With that said, the only comment I'd like to make on it is that, as we've always talked about, housing, specifically in the downtown corridor, and I'm a big proponent of R2 and where you've got more homes within a smaller area, and again, when it, of course, fits. This case here, looking at it really closely, I believe it does fit that, and for that reason alone, I would support all of the requirements, or all of the recommendations within the variation request.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Nichols?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a clarification question to yourself to possibly planning the party wall. Divides the property. Now, can that be explained to me in terms of where it starts, where it ends, and maybe height, how that may work, please?
Sure. If Mr. Gessel wants to answer that.
Absolutely. You just wanted clarification on what the party wall is, or
Yeah.
how that would operate as far as, so because it's being divided down the property line and it's a duplex, the duplexes do require what is called a party wall through code, which kind of separates both units. It creates extra space with extra insulation, sound barriers, plus fireproofing. So in essential, it is rated better for fire and noise. It is something per the code which is required. I believe if you ever decide to sell these off, it's split down the middle, so you could technically sell off each side because they are on their own property. If that's something that wanted to be entertained anywhere down the road in a future basis, instead of having them offset in a sense, because I can get Mr. Keevy to clarify, but I believe the properties are still being left the way they are. So we need to ensure that party wall's there.
It's the interior
It's
wall.
the interior wall between the two.
Yeah. No.
Nothing on the exterior.
Nothing on the outside.
Okay.
It's all on
Thank
the
you.
inside.
Does that make sense? I can speak to this because I lived in a
There you go.
place with a party wall. And what I did enjoy, and I like this for this community, is my low hydro bills of living in a place like that, because it was very good. Any other questions?
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a comment. I had worked across the street from this property for the better part of a decade, and I saw it go from a derelict house to when the applicant had purchased it, and watched him put in the work to get rid of the old house, clean up the property, and I just wanted to say I'm in support of this because it's nice to see something being done with that property.
Excellent. Anything else? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. We'll now open public hearing request for conditional use PC 52-26 Avena Foods Limited at 124 10th Street Northeast. I'll ask if anyone is here to speak in favor of this application. If you'd like to come to the mic and state your name, first and last name for the record, please.
Hi, Michelle Quall.
Hi, Michelle. Ms. Quell, would you like to make a statement or just answer questions?
Just answer questions.
Okay, perfect. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Quell before we? Councillor Porter? Oh, Mike. Oh, sorry, just 1 second. Could you spell your last name?
K-O-W-A-L.
K-O-W. Thank you. Okay. Councillor Porter.
Yeah, I just have a question about the shipping container itself. What do you plan on storing in there?
At the rear of the warehouse area that we have, behind it, we already have 4 shipping containers there. We just need additional storage. So we would put one more right beside it where the other ones are.
Okay, all right. And what do you usually store in there?
It'll be products for our facility. So it could be things like packaging for the products that we make, or pallets, or things like that.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. No other questions for Ms. Quall? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I'll ask if anyone else is here to speak in favor of this application. I'll ask if anyone is here to speak against this application. Again, anyone here to speak against this application? I'll ask if anyone is here just has questions about this application. Okay. If nothing else, council, no questions, then I'll ask for a motion to close this public hearing. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Worship. Be it resolved, and I so move that the public hearing for conditional use PC 56-26 for Avena Foods Limited at 124 10th Street Northeast now be closed.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. All those in favor? And that is carried. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Worship. Council, in front of you to the Planning and Economic Development Committee is a request for a conditional use, and that's for Avena Foods Limited for the applicant. Included in your package is the sketch that you'll see up also on the screen. You're also going to see an area view of where this would be located. The issue is to just allow for a shipping container in an M1 or a light industrial zone. And as indicated, Avena Foods Limited has applied for this conditional use, which is an M1 light industrial zone. They have 4 existing on site now and would like to add a 5th. And council has approved similar requests in the past, and those PC minute references are there for your reference. The application was circulated to various city departments. There have been no concerns, and public notices were sent to all property owners within a 100-meter radius, and as you can see, there's been no objections. With that said, it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the conditional use application of Avena Foods Limited to allow for a shipping container in an M1 light industrial zone at the property 124 10th Street Northeast, which is legally described as Lot 1, Plan 50239 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments from anyone? Pretty straightforward. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee has no report at this time.
Thank you. Excellent, thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. City Planning and Economic Development Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Services Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation has nothing to report.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. We have no items of deferred business. We'll move right into new business. We have our second quarter financial statements and projected year-end balances. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship and colleagues. This evening, we are looking to approve the 2026 Quarter 2 financial statements and look at projected year-end balances. And as you know, the city's fiscal year is the calendar year, with quarters ending March 31, June 30th, September 30th, and December 31. Administration provides detailed financial statements to City Council on a quarterly basis, beginning in the second quarter for their approval. The Finance Department gathers all the information from management responsible for financial results in their areas regarding projected year-end balances and variances. For the general fund, we are at this point projected to have a year-end surplus of $666,000. And the big issue there is the $573,000 in higher supplemental tax revenue and an increase in our municipal operating grant. So that's the bulk of that. And that really is from some of the growth we're having in our city. And as Councillor Meyer often says, we are growing and we are increasing our tax base. So it's great to see that kind of finances in our budget this year. On the utility side, as you know, we have two sides to the city operations. We have a projected year-end surplus of $730,000. A big bulk of that is increased due to increase in revenue in water and sewer sales of $625,000. I won't go through all the other variances. They're there for your information. But I would move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the 2026 Quarter 2 financial statements as presented.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments from anyone? I just have a question on our expenses, just with the increased equipment expenses for $16,000, and just sort of wondering kind of what fell under that, under our on the report to council, just where it says on the general fund, 16,000 increase in equipment expenses.
That is related to the fire department, so it's just equipment and maintenance kind of costs that are associated with that.
In the fire department?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, next item of new business. We have endorsement of Councillor Doyle for AMM Executive Committee Vice President nomination. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship and colleagues. The issue, as the Mayor said, is we're to endorse Councillor Doyle. This is for the Vice President position of the Association of Manitoba Municipalities Executive Committee election, which is in November of this year. The Association of Manitoba Municipalities represents the interests of Manitoba municipalities and provides advocacy, support, and leadership on municipal matters at the provincial level. The AMM Executive Committee is comprised of elected municipal officials who provide leadership and direction to the association on matters affecting municipalities. At the annual fall conference held from November 24th to 2026, AMM will be holding Executive Committee election for President and 2 Vice Presidents. The recommendation this evening, and I would move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie endorse Councillor Colin Doyle to stand for election as Vice President on the AMM's Executive Committee for a 2-year term.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments? Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a quick comment. Of course, soft feeling for this one because of the AMM was dear to my heart, and I know how important these elections are. I wish Councillor Doyle, I'm prepared to support this and wish him well in the election. We have our own local election still, which is always the big hurdle first, but that opportunity to run in November hopefully will be there, and I think it's great to have a City of Portage councillor on the executive having very major impact and meeting with ministers and really plugged in to a lot of what's happening in the provincial system. So I'm personally supporting this resolution to endorse him for running in November.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll just say I totally agree. You know, I think the AMM is such an important advocacy organization for us, and so however we can be involved is important. I'm just curious because right now you sit as a central director. So what happens here after we, if this passes?
Thank you, Your Worship. If the resolution passes this evening and I accept the nomination, I would step down as a director of the Central District, and so I would no longer be associated with AMM until obviously after the general election, if I was to get a seat on council again, and then the election would happen at the AMM Fall Conference. So I would be completely separated from AMM once stepping down.
Okay, thank you. Okay, nothing else? All those in favor? And that is carried. Good luck, Councillor Doyle. Okay, next item of new business, resolution to accompany the Portage Handy Vans Mobility Disadvantaged Transportation Program Capital Grant Application. Councillor Porter.
Yes, I have to excuse myself. I'm in a conflict.
Thank you. This falls under Finance, Legislative, and Property. Councillor Massey. I can speak for Councillor Porter that she runs Portage Handy Van, so. Yeah.
Thank you, Your Worship. As was mentioned, the issue this evening is to provide a resolution required to accompany the Portage Handy Vans Mobility Disadvantaged Transportation Program capital grant application. In the analysis, the Mobility Disadvantaged Transportation Program provides capital grants of up to 50% of eligible project costs to a maximum of $10,000 for new municipal sponsored handy transit services or additional capital assets. The Portage Handy Van currently operates 2 vehicles. One passenger bus provides transportation services within the City of Portage la Prairie and surrounding area. A second vehicle is used primarily for out-of-town medical transportation to destinations such as Winnipeg, Brandon, and Winkler. The demand for out-of-town medical transportation continues to increase, resulting in scheduling challenges when multiple trips are required on the same day. As a result, the service is unable to accommodate all requests when travel is needed in different directions simultaneously. The addition of a third vehicle would increase service capacity and provide operational flexibility during vehicle maintenance, repairs, and safety inspections. So the recommendation, and I would so move, that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie provide a resolution to accompany the Portage Handyvans Capital Grant application under the Mobility Disadvantaged Transportation Program for the purchase of a new vehicle.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments? Councillor Massey?
Yes, I have a comment, but I have a question as well, Your Worship, maybe to administration. This is the first time I've seen a resolution is required for this handy van stuff, is it? Is this a new procedure that council has to endorse these mobility transportation grants? I haven't seen one before, and I know they've applied for different things. I'm just curious if this is something now that we have, and I have no objection at coming to council. I'm just curious if this is a new procedure.
Ms. Chakota?
Through your worship to Councillor Massey, actually, that's a good question. I'm not sure if this has been asked for specifically on this in the past. I mean, they do get an operating grant that's separate, but because this is for a specific new van, that's what is being required of the province. Yeah, I can look into that though, and we can get back to you on whether this is new or not.
Thank you to our city manager for that. Just my comment, Your Worship, I think this is really good. I know the service they provide. I certainly hear from our residents the importance of handy van, and you know, in some communities there's handy vans all over, but I think we've had one of the better ones from what I understand. I used to be with AMM, we did a review of handy vans, and Portage was certainly viewed as one of the best models and the work, but they are struggling in terms of just the demand. I know the Portage, the foundation, Hospital Foundation provided some funding recently for them as well, because they were having massive repairs of the medical one. So as I understand it, this is going to be an additional one to provide medical support, and I think this is great to get our community to meet the demand that's out there for this. So I support the resolution, Your Worship.
Thank you. I'll completely speak in favor of this, because I do know that, you know, the request, especially for medical appointments, is increasing, and currently right now with only the 2 vehicles, whenever they have someone down or whether, you know, they need other, is that citizens have relied on using, say, McGregor's handy van to get them in there. And I do know that can be an increased cost of $150 for a citizen too, even though the handy van costs are already high for citizens to use it to go to medical appointments. But having that ability here, I think, is just incredibly important. So, okay, awesome. All those in favor? And that is carried. Somebody can ask for Councillor Porter to come back. Yeah. Giving Councillor Meyer time to get himself all ready.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, next item of new business is our June building reports. For information only, City Planning and Economic Development, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. And Council, of course, in front of you is the June 2026 building reports. And as usual, they do show the separation between city and RM, but being a regional body, I always like to present the report combined. And although I know you review it, I would just like to summarize it in the fact that a couple of things have happened over the, I guess this will be our first 6 months of 2026, is that you'll see that there are some permit numbers that are down, but the values are up when we're talking residential homes. So maybe shows you the value of the properties are getting a little higher. You'll see a doubleization in the new double or R2 properties as well, and you're also going to see something in the new multi. The one I like to see, although not as many as last year, but obviously these are repair permits, and you will see a substantial number beside that as well. You're going to see some new commercial numbers as well, and obviously the repair continues in that category as well. In new, you're going to see 3 new permits for industrial, which comes to about 3.2 million. And you're also going to see that repair is actually continuing in there as well. And then you look at the institutional, which is the biggest numbers, you're going to see obviously the repair. So as I've said, I think within our community, what this does is tells a story that companies, residents, industrial users, and even farm are putting money back into their properties. Sign of a healthy community is investing back into your own property, however that looks. You'll also see in some of the cottage industries, and that doesn't mean, of course, cottage is in a seasonal cottage. Cottage industry means a smaller industry with our own industry, is the RTMs. You're going to see a significant increase in that. So shows you we've got some quality business people within our community. They're building these RTMs and going forward from there. So although permit numbers might be down a little bit, they're very comparable to where they were at this year last year at this time. And we also know that last number of years have been some record numbers. So last year in general, we were at 113 permits at roughly 12.5 million. And this year we're at 111 with over 37 million. So it's some significant numbers. And again, just to close it off, when you see this shows you again what really is when it's shovel in the ground, and it shows you what's going on within our region, which is really good. I don't know if there's any questions from council, but if there's not, that is my report, Your Worship.
Thank you. I just have a question for planning. I think so when we talk about institutional, we're talking schools, hospitals, MDC, all of those type, because that's just a real high repair number for me. I was surprised to see.
That is correct. I believe that repair is more school-based.
Okay.
We're doing some major repairs on, I won't get into which one, but that is where they're doing repairs on the school. So they kind of set aside an allotment for certain years, and then when they get to it, it comes in at high value.
Yeah, awesome. Good. Nice to see that number. Excellent. Anyone else? Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Okay, next item of new business, the Portage Regional Fieldhouse Memorandum of Understanding and Cost Sharing Agreement. This is Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The issue is to consider the proposed Portage Regional Fieldhouse Memorandum of Understanding and Detailed Design Cost Sharing Agreement. Council has previously identified advancement of regional fieldhouse project as a strategic priority, and in 2026, the city successfully secured funding through the Manitoba Growth Renewal and Opportunities Program to support further development of the project. Over the past several months, administration has continued discussions with both the RM of Portage la Prairie and Southport Aerospace Inc. regarding the next phase of the project. While long-term construction, operating ownership, and governance matters will require future consideration, the parties have agreed that completion of detailed design is necessary to better understand project scope, costs, funding requirements, and overall feasibility before any final construction decisions are made. The proposed MOU formalizes the parties' intent to work collaboratively towards the development of a regional indoor fieldhouse facility. The MOU outlines the project's purpose, identifies the anticipated roles of each partner, and establishes a framework for future discussions related to funding, ownership, governance, operations, and community engagement. Importantly, the MOU is intended to provide a foundation for continued collaboration and does not constitute a commitment to proceed with construction of the facility. The proposed detailed design cost sharing and reimbursement agreement is more limited in scope and applies only to the detailed design phase. Under the agreement, each partner will be responsible for 1/3 of all approved detailed design costs to a maximum contribution of $300,000 per party. The agreement also clarifies that the Manitoba Grow funding will initially be utilized by the city for cash flow purposes and pay project costs as they are incurred. However, each party remains responsible for including its share of detailed design costs in its overall project contribution, regardless of whether the project ultimately proceeds to construction. Administration believes approval of both agreements will allow the project to advance to the detailed design stage while maintaining flexibility for all parties to evaluate the completed design, project costs, financing options, government structures, ownership arrangements, and long-term operational implications before making any final commitment regarding construction. This approach continues in the spirit of regional partnership while limiting the immediate decision before council to participation in the detailed design phase only. It is the recommended resolution, and I so move, that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the execution of the Portage Regional Fieldhouse Memorandum of Understanding and Detailed Design Cost Sharing Agreement, subject to the Rural Municipality of Portage la Prairie and Southport Aerospace, Inc., also resolving to approve and execute agreements. And that Council approve funding of the city's share of detailed design costs to a maximum of $300,000 from the projected 2026 operating surplus, and further that the mayor and city manager be authorized to execute the agreements on behalf of the city.
Moved by Councillor Espy, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any questions or comments from council? Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Your Worship. I will be supporting this. I think this is a major step in the right direction. And on the end of every report to council, we have a spot where we can see where a resolution would align with our council's strategic plan. And I see that quality of life is checked off here. And I think it's important to note that a facility like this would lead to a better community safety and well-being, showcasing our community, more economic opportunities, and an inclusive community as well. So I think this hits all the marks that we are looking for, and I think it's a major step in the right direction.
Excellent. Anyone else? Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Worship. I think it's safe to say that every community, or in this case, region, has a well-balanced situation. Part of that we know, of course, is recreation. I'm a big fan of this. I've supported this from the beginning. Although I'm not ready to sell my soul for it, I think that the price to pay, whether we move forward or not, will be up to either this council or future councils. Two things. One is that you've got a partnership. We've got a partnership with RM and Southport, and I don't think you could ask for a better partnership to show the strength of the region that we have. The $300,000 is a small price to pay in order to be able to see whether this recreational facility will go ahead. I think it's going to be an incredible design, but we'll obviously see what that looks like when we actually get it. So for that reason and others that I haven't talked about, I will be supporting this resolution.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Nichols?
Thank you, Worship. I too will be supporting this resolution. I think that I'm very, very enthusiastic about the partnerships that have been formed. I see that Southport's come to the table in a big way, along with the RM. We're looking at moving forward, and I just think about the youth, and this is going to be a building for ages, it's gonna make well use of our winters, summers, springs, camps. All these different type of people and uses are going to come together in this, and for big celebrations as well. I'd like to personally thank the administration for the work they've done here, because there's been a lot of work done behind the scenes in terms of coming together with this agreement, and I can't say enough about it. It's checking my boxes in terms of, and I've checked with a number of people throughout the community, and the support has been overwhelming. I'm very enthusiastic about it, and for whatever shape or form in the next council, we're going to have detailed design going forward. So you're going to be able to see exactly what the breakdowns are, and where our costs are going to go, and what we're going to have at the end. And it's going to be nice, because you're going to be able to get a true, probably fly-through view and picture of what it is that we're being designed. So thank you, and thank you to administration for this.
Thank you, Councillor Nichols. Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Worship. I will echo all the comments been made, but I also want to focus on the MOU. I think this is a great MOU. I think this really lays out, and I encourage people to read it. It's public, it's transparent. We're being very open with the public of what we're doing here. And it's a great MOU. It really lays out, like any partnership, the terms, who does what, the cost sharing for operating. It's an excellent MOU. And this piece here to move us to the next level is critical, the detailed design, which also has an MOU attached to it. But I want to thank staff for because these MOUs are really important, because sometimes things can go sideways, misunderstandings. This lays out exactly in a very open, transparent way how we're going to function with the RM of Portage and with Southport. So totally support this. I think this is going to be a game changer for our community in some ways, like some other big projects we're working on, and I fully support it.
Thank you. Councillor Porter?
Thank you, Worship. I can echo Councillor Massey's comments there, but it is going to be a game changer. I think that was kind of a pun, wasn't it? Yeah. And nobody was laughing. Anyway, I totally support this, and I think you did it's a great piece of work, and yeah, it sure spells out how our community and our communities outside our communities can come together and form a partnership. So I'm going to totally support this. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to talk about a few things here. So I think the things that I really want to focus on is I remember when the discussions first started about this project, and I think I remember stating in a meeting to administration and to our partners that I needed to be able to sleep at night with whatever this agreement looked at, because I wanted us to make sure that we were coming into a true partnership. And I do want to thank administration for, I'm going to say, hammering it out to figure out where all partners feel good about what's written in this agreement and that everyone can sign it with good conscience. I also appreciate the fact that, you know, it started with an idea, the partners came in, but we didn't stop there because we really needed to know if the people in this region wanted this project. And so we held an open house at Southport, and I'm going to say one of the most well-attended open houses that we've ever had, which was a little bit, it was kind of a little bit shocking of how many people were there, but that was a really good sign that day. We heard not only the people that, you know, if we could build it tomorrow, they'd like that because they're already driving many miles to go do things, but we also heard concerns from people in the region. And then we went the next step and did a survey so that everybody had the opportunity to give their feedback. And I think the results of that survey were well worth that time and effort, because the amount of people that filled it out and the results were overwhelmingly positive to do this. And I think that that was a real help for some of our partners too, to be able to move forward in it. I'm also, yeah, I'm really proud of the fact that, you know, there was concerns about, you know, making sure that our user groups were heard. And I know that our partner Southport did a lot of work talking to user groups to make sure that their voices were heard. People talked about why the location out there, and we're very clear on the fact that if we didn't have Southport as a partner, we wouldn't be signing an MOU today or having this resolution to pass. So I do give administration and our partner administration kudos for working this out so that we can have a document to be proud of, an agreement to move into the next step. Like we said, this is not set in stone. This is the next step. And we're going to see what that design comes up with all of the advice from our user groups, and we're going to try and move forward. So I'm very grateful for that. Okay, anything else? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, it is our quarterly report time under new business. So we have our Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through Your Worship, I would like to call upon our PCRC Executive Director to present the PCRC and Suda-Cachicha second quarter reports.
Thank you, Councillor Espy. Our local immigration partnership program has continued many partnerships with ethno-cultural organizations and supporting them through official organization. And we anticipate having a new LIP coordinator in the coming weeks as we've transitioned through the summer to a new coordinator. And they also supported the flag raisings at PCI that happened in June, and that really showcased, you know, the cultural diversity that has really happened in the city over the past few years. And so kudos to PCI and all the people who have supported that as well. Our huddle project has officially transitioned. So on June 22nd, we had the unveiling, and one of our biggest partnerships with that is Southern Health. So they agreed to hire for our counselor position through Shared Health, and they're also hiring a .2 nurse practitioner position. So we've had a really easy partnership through that, and we're really excited about that transition. They've also had tons of programming going on. So through our renovation process, we offered off-site programming at Prairie Fusion, and our community facilitator has supported a number of free tickets for our huddle. And so they partnered with Portage Pitbulls and offered 20 spots for youth to attend a Blue Bombers game, and had a whole pre-game experience. And they have tons of Gold Eyes tickets that they've been utilizing through the summer. Our community facilitator also supported our small grants rollout and awarded just under $25,000 to 8 community organizations, and also coordinated hiring and mentoring of 5 summer students for this next quarter, which has been very positive for graffiti removal and some community cleanups and supporting different events. We did have our Touch a Truck again, which saw about 400 people, and it was a great event. We had some new trucks out, and we look forward to growing that event even more. We also participated in the Love My Community Challenge that Southern Health put on, and we had free rock painting kits. Our Wowokia program is currently supporting 19 clients and participant files. So those are people who need support from multiple organizations or agencies, and really need help to reduce barriers. So with those, with that program, we have a part-time wellness coach attached to it, and then a cultural support navigator. So Emma has been providing beading circles that are open to participants of our programs, and she's also opened it up to the public. So she held one at Bear Den, and she's transitioning to the library now that they have renovated their room there, and we've seen excellent turnout. And she also supported Prairie Harbor in running a couple beading circles because they identified a need for further cultural support for their residents. And so Emma, along with one of our cultural support navigators from Huddle, attended there. Our housing support services, our Reaching Home program and intensive case management program is supporting many people still. Reaching Home housed 6 individuals through the past quarter and received 15 referrals during that time. Our ICM program is like our second stage of supported housing first. So they'll do like daily check-ins with people and just do that extra support, additional referrals, wraparound like support. And they have continued to find furniture donations and really make some creative housing solutions for people. We did run our expression of interest for our affordable housing ideas, and we've extended that until September. So if you know of anybody with ideas, we are still looking for more interest in that. And our Indigenous Seniors Resource Coordinator has kept busy and completed a lot of daily support for people. Yard care was a huge need through early spring with all the rain. So lots of grass cutting and providing referrals. Our Suda-Cachicha program is also going through a bit of a transition. So we've seen a coordinator change there, and one of our most successful initiatives through this has been free ribbon skirt making. So we're always looking for new partnerships, and Prairie Fusion is also looking to enhance their cultural supports and programming. So we partnered with them to run these workshops, and we were waitlisted within 2 hours when we put it out, and we've completed one full session. There's a second one happening this Saturday to work on that wait list, and then we actually have a third one planned. So it's been really positive and highlights the interest in learning about Indigenous culture. So there were all kinds of demographics who were interested in that wait list, and our huddle project is also offering different ribbon skirt making and ribbon shirt making. So we see that as very positive. And I'm happy to answer any questions about either of these reports.
Perfect. I have some.
Sure.
Okay, good. First of all, I attended the huddle opening, and I've been involved in this conversation for a long time, and I remember the first huddle meeting I sat in at Family Resource Center when it just all the people in that room that were working towards the same goal was wonderful, and to see it actually come to fruition is amazing. Beautiful space. It's going to be a game changer for youth in our community, and so it's awesome. Reaching home, I have a question because I hear a little bit about funding and just wondered where you're at with funding. Do you need any advocacy from our level to be able to, what have you heard?
So Reaching Home is a federal fund, and the Reaching Home branding is like a federal fund.
Yeah.
So we have about 1.5 years left of that funding, and then we don't know what that looks like.
Okay.
So, the federal government could turn that into something else. There's lots of obvious interest in housing first, but of course challenges too. So I think one of the main challenges we see is the lack of affordable housing. So housing first works really well when there's housing available, and it's challenging to house people when housing doesn't exist within people's funding parameters that they receive for rent or can pay for rent. So that's a major challenge that we hear across the country for housing first. And we've had an excellent partnership with Brandon Neighborhood Renewal Corporation. So they receive the federal funding, and then they accept applications for that funding, and that's gone well. But we never know what kind of changes come up with government, and so we're not 100% sure. We were very thankful to receive our extension. So we did receive an extension for these 2 years of funding come April 1st, 2026. And so we received a slight reduction in that funding because they were looking to fund as many projects as they possibly could. And we are very fortunate that our community also receives our rapid rehousing intensive case management funding through the province of Manitoba Housing Addictions and Homelessness. So we just signed a new 3-year contract, and that's really saved us at PCRC. So our team is very busy. We have 4 case managers, a coordinator, and then our Wobokia coordinator also supports part of that. And our cultural support navigator for Wobokia is partially funded under ICM as well. So when we talk about partnerships, we're always looking for external partnerships, but we're always patchworking whatever we're doing internally to make it go as far as possible. And so food security for any of those housing clients is always huge. We hear that as a top concern for Indigenous seniors too in the community. And I really think that any advocacy around affordable housing or any kind of creative solutions towards that would be huge.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I do know I've seen it in media about Reaching Home, people wanting to make sure that funding expands, and I do know it came up at the FCM level. So anyway, we can, if you need us to help advocate and you want to lead us in the right direction, I'm sure we're happy to do that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. And there's one more second quarter report. It is by our youth counselor. So through Your Worship, I will call upon our youth counselor to present that.
Thank you, Your Worship. For activities completed this quarter, I attended city council meetings, supported Bike Week by providing ice cream and ice cream cones for the Cookie Ride event, organized and participated the PCI Meets Council event on May 27, 2026, connecting PCI students with City Council and the Portage Youth Hub, which I believe are now known as Huddle. As for activities begun this quarter, I began collaborating with the Portage Youth Hub to implement a youth suggestion box, allowing young people to share ideas and feedback on initiatives they would like to see in Portage. And for goals next quarter, this is my final quarterly report as a youth counselor, so I don't have any goals for the next quarter, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve the City of Portage la Prairie and to represent the voices of local youth over the past year.
Thank you. Do you want to go first, Councillor Espy? Or
Sure. I was just going to say, on behalf of all of us, well done and thank you.
yeah, I'll say the same thing. So I've been on council for 8 years, and I think this was a very nice change where you were a student of West Park School and you gave us the opportunity to be in both West Park and PCI. So gave us a little bit of that opportunity to have a bigger voice or be able to converse with more youth in the community. And I really liked your intention of getting involved with the Youth Hub. I think that's a great now Huddle, but I think a great connection between the youth and you being the liaison there. And we would like to give you something. This is your last meeting, so come on up. Come on. Let's all do it. Let's all do it today. We're going to present you with a plaque that says, presented in appreciation to Efe Ode for serving with distinction as a youth member of council for the City of Portage la Prairie 2025-2026. Is that all, Councillor Espy?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Public Safety Committee, second quarter reports, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. To read the second quarter bylaw enforcement report, I will call upon our Community Safety Manager.
Okay, so for the second quarter report for bylaw enforcement, animal control, and animal retention facility, officers worked 59 days and responded to 331 bylaw calls for service and approximately 180 animal control calls for service. A total of 70 animals were impounded, consisting of 48 cats and 22 dogs. And as of June 30th, the animal retention facility housed 2 dogs and 4 cats. That will have changed by now, but those are the stats we're working with. For bylaw enforcement, seasonal weather conditions resulted in significant grass and weed growth throughout the community, so that led to increased property maintenance complaints. Most residents responded positively to the notices and completed the work required voluntarily before contractor requirements were there. A total of 331 bylaw complaints were addressed during that quarter, and most commonly the offenses at that point were grass and weeds, approximately 116, unsightly property, the count about 100, illegally parked vehicles, 53, and traffic violations, 28. Officers issued 28 fines related to traffic during that quarter. For animal control, the activity remained consistent throughout the quarter with 180 calls for service. The highest volume categories were impounded animals, animals at large, licensing complaints, and general animal concerns. There was also an increase in calls regarding the dogs left out during periods of extreme heat, and residents were directed to animal protection services when animal welfare concerns were identified. And lastly, for the animal retention facility, operations at the location remained stable throughout the reporting period. Improvements to the facility cooling system were upgraded and completed, which created a lot more comfortable of an environment for the animals in care during that extreme warm weather that we experienced. So in summary, the second quarter reflected continued demand for both bylaw and animal control services, particularly in relation to seasonal property maintenance concerns and animal-related calls, and the officers continue to focus on voluntary compliance and responsive service delivery. Barring any questions, that's my report for that.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions on the bylaw report? Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Since your microphone's warmed up, I will call upon you again for the CSO report.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. The radio clipped off and almost flew there. Okay. Have to give me 2 seconds. My mouse froze. There we go. Okay, so barring the CSO second quarter report, during this report period, the CSO department responded to 288 calls for service. This quarter was primarily driven by suspicious activities, 68 calls, well-being concerns, 60 calls, and other frequent occurrences included theft-related incidents, which were 24, and intoxicated persons calls, which was 20. Bylaw infractions, mischief, and traffic-related calls remained consistent. Overall call volume increased from 197 in the second quarter of 2025 to 288 for the second quarter this year, with notable growth in both, like I said, the suspicious activity and the well-being check requests. To address property concerns and deter crime, our department prioritized proactive patrols across the community during this period, so officers maintained a visible presence while balancing dual priorities, such as enforcing the municipal and provincial laws and responding to the public well-being calls. We maximized coverage and strengthened interagency collaboration with those, and ultimately these efforts advanced our core strategy of combining those decisive enforcement with proactive community support. With regards to staffing, our office recently completed an internal personnel shift. Chris Morris transitioned from a CSO role to serve as the new administrative assistant for the Department of Public Safety. Staffing levels remain one CSO below complement due to provincial training requirements and the limited availability of training opportunities. The position will remain unfilled until the next training intake, which is several months away. The team consists of 5 full-time officers, 1 part-time, supported by myself, the manager of public safety, and the administrative assistant spoken of. Operating hours remain unchanged, again, still 7 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., Monday to Friday. Regarding equipment, the e-bikes that we have are currently undergoing repair and maintenance due to our recent break-in, and they will be back in service hopefully soon. Additionally, continued work towards the implementation of our body cameras and in-car laptop systems is ongoing as part of the efforts to improve our operational effectiveness and, quite importantly, our officers' safety. For public relations, our building positive community relationships remained a key focus for us. So during this period, officers engaged in providing traffic safety support to external agencies, including for parade events, participated in Bike Week alongside local elementary schools and child care facilities, and attended the Touch a Truck event as well. These efforts contributed to community well-being and public safety awareness, and that's really important to us. And for projects and initiatives, the department remains focused on refining our internal processes, so improving our delivery and advancing our long-term strategic goals. Again, with our new building and all of our changes, we are looking to the future. So some key priorities moving forward are standardizing and refining our operational procedures, implementing updated equipment, such as those body cameras and mobile workstations, and expanding training opportunities to strengthen our officers' knowledge and competencies. Ongoing efforts will continue to emphasize community outreach, interagency collaboration, and consistent enforcement aligned with our provincial and municipal authorities. So in closing, throughout the reporting period, our office remained focused on delivering responsive and effective services. Continued investments in training, equipment, and community partnerships will support the department's ongoing efforts to enhance public safety and service delivery across the city. Barring any questions for that, that's the end of that report.
Any questions on the CSO report? Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Your Worship, and through Your Worship to, of course, CSO Manager Caitlin Sainden. First of all, excellent report. It really gives us a clear snapshot of some of the stuff that's going on in our community. But like any number, it can sometimes maybe a bit construed. So I'm just looking for a little bit of clarification. One, just in regard to well-being concerns. Obviously, we see an increase from 16 to 60, which I think is a good thing. But I'm just wondering, is that something that is basically called in, or is it something that they do, the CSO officers, while they're on, I guess, on duty, maybe walking the streets, do a check-in, or how is that actually registered? And then I have one follow-up question as well.
Yeah, I would say that that is a mixture of both. Not only is it citizens calling in complaints, but it's also the officers being out in the street doing those patrols in some of those more secure or covered areas. And again, considering that we did have those extreme weather weeks at the time, and those were big when it came to well-being concerns. When you think about our transient population, that's a hard thing to be out in that weather for extended periods of time. So our officers were out in the areas that we had more concerns about to find people to ensure that we could offer them assistance as needed.
Perfect. And just some context onto that is the fact that, especially in our community, I think to be able to have those resources. I mean, we always know that CSO maybe is a little bit about enforcement, but this just goes to show you where the connection is within our community. We are a bit of a transit community, being on the #1 highway, and to see basically us to have the ability to be able to check on people and just make sure that their well-being is okay, I think is an incredible thing. And then just my follow-up question is just in regards to suspicious activity. I see that number jump. I just want to be clear that that doesn't necessarily mean, and maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's an increase in suspicious activity. It's just something that's maybe reported, or how would you really kind of quantify that number?
Yeah, that's correct. It doesn't necessarily mean there's an increase in concerning behavior in our community. It just means that it's maybe noticed a little bit more again with those proactive patrols from our officers being out in the community.
Makes sense. Yep. Thank you. I'll just comment on you're talking about the lack of training opportunities, and just so you know, I know we've kept you informed, but we're advocating with the province to improve that, and we will continue to do that. I said your report today just reminded me to put some more pressure on. I've been off since I sent the last one, so happy to do that. Yeah, but thank you for that, and excited to hear that we advance from within for that position. So that's great. Yeah.
I appreciate the advocacy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you very much for that report. I will now call on Ms. Kozar to give our first ever Community Safety Wellbeing report.
Exciting.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Yeah, this is really exciting. It's our first CSWB quarterly report. So I just want to backtrack a little bit. So as you probably recall, we did this survey to create this plan in 2023. So it's already been 3 years since that happened. And then we did some focus groups through like the fall of 2023 into the winter of early 2024 to really inform this plan. But between that survey and data time period to when the plan unveiled, there were huge changes in our community. So this initial report goes through some of those changes, and a lot of it's related to other organizations or groups in our community who have contributed a lot of time and actions towards things that are going into this plan. So even like the Fieldhouse MOU that you approved tonight contributes to this plan. So there's all kinds of ways and actions that people are taking, whether they are really thinking about CSWB or not. But that's what we've compiled so far. But what I really want to highlight too is the number of partnerships that have gone into this. So we established that stakeholder table in early 2023, and, you know, convinced people to sit around that table for a long time. And they showed up consistently and have continued to show up. So we have had other municipalities call us and shoulder tap us to hear about how we did our unveiling even. So we were the first community to do that public unveiling in open house style. And there's other places who are now looking at that as a model and who have actually come in person to visit us to hear about this plan and how we plan to move it forward. And that's a huge win on its own. So some municipalities don't see the level of engagement with the public survey that we saw, or the level of engagement for stakeholders. And certainly within that table, like, we saw people move positions, and we had to bring in other people from organizations, and they were still committed to the whole process and are still sitting around the table to see now how can they make actions happen. And so that is a huge win for our community. And I do want to say that our community safety officer program was only running 8:30 to 4:30 when we did that survey, and it was in its very early stages. So since then, we've seen the hours expand, and we've seen a lot of changes in the community. I can say at PCRC too, like, the CSOs patrol daily past our office. I probably see them go past my windows 2 to 3 times a day. And one day this summer, we had somebody who was very vulnerable outside who needed help. And I looked out and thought, oh, somebody called the CSOs. But they were actually just walking by and attended on their own. And we've heard very good feedback from vulnerable people in our community too, around their interactions with CSOs, and some very appropriate handoffs of like people who have been hitchhiking or are in crisis that the CSOs have encountered, and they have brought them to our office and done like a full handoff to make sure the person feels safe and heard and is okay to be left there, or if they need anything else, they've made themselves available. So that has been a huge change in our community, and we think it's great and a huge contributor to this plan. And we've also seen some really easy wins. So our the Portage District and Chamber of Commerce has committed to do annual open houses for employers at PCI. So they partnered last year, and they plan to do it annually. So they're running it again in November, and we're just looking for easy wins. So, like, what are those things that are already happening that we need to tie together better? So even with Huddle, we're exploring how can we do like open study hours for people who are in post-secondary, who are doing remote programs, who can get jobs in the community, and but just need that little bit of support. And we're very excited about the next steps and moving into next quarter with it. And I'm happy to answer any questions around the project too.
I'll just comment on, I love this report, and it was really great to see the things we had. And, you know, I know I've talked to you about this language about connecting everything, and now I realize I'm not practicing what I preach, because I think about Find Your Portage, and it should be connected to community safety and well-being, but it's not yet. So I'm going to do that. But just the amount of collaboration and hearing the things that are happening, that I think once we have all of these, everybody understanding that it all comes back to community safety and well-being, I think is just going to continue to move us forward. So this was a really nice capture of everything. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Perfect. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just say this is exciting to have this report around the council table, and it's nice to see the community safety officer program recognized within this report. We knew it was going to happen. You know, we knew they were going to play a part in this, but it's just really nice to see all the collaboration between all the various groups. So thank you.
Thank you.
I will now call on our Deputy Fire Chief to give the second quarter report from the Portage Fire Department.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The fire department responded to 147 calls in the city and surrounding area in the second quarter. There were 265 total calls in 2026, down from 286 calls in 2005. Second quarter, 147, as I just mentioned. Some of the notable calls that we had, show and tell, and then touch a truck, and fire inspections and permits in Q2. Some complaints, fire pit permits were up. Obviously, a good time of year to have a backyard fire. Licensing, occupant permits, open air permits. We had some requests, some routine, and then safety concerns. We conducted some training, part-time in careers, completed CN training, included 3 hours of classroom instruction on rail safety, hazmat, derailment response, followed by 1 to 2 hours of practical training on the rail cars, fittings, and application. And staffing, with over 30 years of dedicated service, Captain McKinnon retired June 5th, and we wish him a long, healthy, and fulfilling retirement. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Deputy Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Worship. Thank you for your report, Deputy Fire Chief Thompson. My question, I've been meaning to ask this for a number of meetings. I keep forgetting. Now I want to ask you while you're here. The motor vehicle response you get. Now I remember in my AMM days, this was a hot topic in terms of rates, what's eligible, etc. So it's been a while since I've looked at that, but my questions are twofold. One is, are you claiming for those responses? I mean, we're on the #1 highway, and there's obviously a lot of activity there. And secondly, are the rates sort of at least covering a number of our costs of the fire department? I know for a while there, they went up a little bit. There was a big lobby, but is it time to maybe look at those, or are you looking at that as a Fire Chief Association? Can you just give me an overall picture of the motor vehicle compensation? Because it costs money to respond to those. We do it, but just any thoughts around that? I'd be curious where that's at.
I would say probably Deputy Fire Chief can answer that, as well as maybe Ms. Sadney can answer some of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. Yes, absolutely, we do. We do, through our incidents of motor vehicle accidents, we do insurance claims. So just a rough idea, last year in 2025, we claimed about $5,000 or so. So we do, any motor vehicle accident, we do send that information to the insurance company, and whatever is billable, they do pay that way. So we do get some funding back from that. So yes.
Thank you. Did you have anything to add, Ms. Sadney?
I would just say that it's easiest to claim things that have MPI coverage. So if we're talking semi-trailers, they have different insurance coverage, and sometimes that can be difficult when it's outside of the province plates. Same can be said for just general motor vehicles. If they are not Manitoba plates, they are difficult to collect on.
And that's always been a problem, I think, hasn't it? Yeah.
So.
Because I remember when we made changes to response, that was a concern.
I'll just add to that too. So like any motor vehicle accident that we still make that claim. Sometimes we get approved and sometimes we don't, but we still always send that information out to an insurance company. So
to other provinces and all that. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Councillor Massey.
And maybe you don't want to answer the question I'd asked about answer. Like, let's be realistic. Are those rates reasonable for City of Portage? I know we have, the jaws of life, and I don't want you to put you in but I'm just wondering if there's something council can do or through AMM or, because it does get costly. I notice your responses are down in the second quarter quite significantly, but.
Maybe it'd be best, instead of answering the question, that we ask them to come back to us with sort of some comparables to see if those rates, and then maybe we can decide if there's advocacy there that we can do. Is that fair?
That's fair. I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? No? And yes, we definitely wish Captain McKinnon a great retirement for 30 years of service within our city. So he will be, I know he's been off for a while, but he'll still be missed. Yeah, awesome. Okay. Nothing else, Councillor Doyle?
That concludes the Public Safety Committee second quarter reports. Thank you.
Perfect. We have no items of old business, so we will adjourn council at 7:15 p.m. and move right into committee. I'll call committee to order at 7:15 p.m. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship. Under Finance, I actually have a report today, which is great, and it's one of my favorite programs. We have opened the intake for the 2027 Community Grants Program. You know, the city has been very supportive, working with organizations to help people of Portage la Prairie enrich their lives. And as I've always said, it's makes us a more humane and compassionate society that these grants. And I know, like a lot of counselors, I've been to some of these places that have gotten grants, and they're so appreciative of what the city has done, and they do such great work on a shoestring budget often. So I think this is a great program to continue. And so the deadline, we're inviting the organizations within the city to apply for the grant. It is, the deadline is September 15th. The application is on our city website. It could be brought in person or by email. Please have a look at it. It does lay out some of the things that we look for as a city in terms of financial statements and how their grant aligns with some of our strategic direction as a city. But it's a great program, and I hope the organizations in Portage get their application, those that want to apply, and make sure that it gets in by the deadline.
Just on that, I think of now when I think of a lot of the community grants fall within our community safety and well-being plan. So kind of look forward to some of that tie-in. Yeah.
A couple of things just from attending things. I was at the Craig Dunn 40th anniversary of his business. Deputy Mayor Doyle brought greetings, and Councillor Nichols and Meyer were also there. A great celebration, long-time business in Portage. Mayor Knox had the flag raising for the National Drowning Prevention Week. Mayor Knox, Councillors Doyle and Nichols and myself were there for that flag raising, and it was a great opportunity to talk about in summer, to be careful along in waters and so on. Councillor Doyle, Meyer, and Nichols and I attended the changing of the command at Southport at the flight school, the training school. Lieutenant Colonel Kim Wilton, who has been there, is leaving. She's going to Austria, I think, which is quite a change. And the new commander is Michelle Pistatelli.
Close enough.
He's Italian, so, you know. Yeah, he told me he was. So it was great to see that. We had brought greetings on behalf of Mayor and Council to the communities in Bloom. Councillor Porter was there, great lunch, and met the judges, and I'm confident we're going to do well again this year in that. Councillor Nichols and Porter and I attended the Long Plain Powwow. It was I appreciated my colleagues coming there as well. You know, it's interesting. One of the things, the relationships we've developed through the SETI program and others, when we got there, it was great to see us welcomed. The chief came over right away. He saw us. You know, it's great. You know, you can see the difference of how those relationships have benefited us when we go there. They know who we are, and they're very happy to see us. So it was great to be there. So we had Deputy Mayor Doyle bring greetings to the Jamaican flag raising with Councillor Meyer and Porter. Another organization, another group that's making Portage their home. And one of the things they said that was very interesting, they are wanting to set up an association as well to plug in with other groups that have associations. And I think that's the whole goal is, and I think PCRC has been a big factor in getting these groups to set up these organizations. So, you know, it's very emotional for me when I see these groups coming here and making Portage their home. The Hospital Foundation, I had a board meeting there. We're continuing, I think, to do some great work. September 29th is the annual meeting, for those of you who want to make a note in your calendar. And October 2nd is the big gala. And the foundation is doing very well. We're expanding our mandate in terms of funding things. And I see a really good strategic plan there. It works the way the City of Portage plan has worked. You stick to it and you push your goals from your strategic plan. And great credit to our board and Executive Director Tara Pettinger. And lastly, on Sunday, I was pleased to go with Councillor Porter and Nichols to the Infant Memorial Garden here in Portage, the ribbon cutting of that, and it was very emotional. It was a great project that started when they came to council here. So it was great to be there for the ribbon cutting. So that's my report, Your Worship.
Yeah, and just on that, just thank you to our city team who helped with, not only getting the land ready for that infant memorial garden, but their time that they put into helping that group put that forward. So thank you. Okay, City Planning and Economic Development, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Worship. I would just, Council, like to take this opportunity just to take a second. Of course, we always know that we are extremely proud of our community. I think it shows in the work that we do, and any chance and an opportunity we can get to showcase it, we certainly want to do that. So what I'm proud, of course, to remind people of again is that we're actually hosting the 4th annual Developers Day, which has been an incredible program.
Actually attended the Dakota Plains Powwow, which is the first one they've held in over 60 years, I believe. And we were just there as spectators, but it was noticed during the opening grand entry, and we were acknowledged as being their city councilors, so that was nice. But it was an amazing event, and other than that, that concludes my report.
Yeah. Yeah, just a big thank you to our steady partners, both Long Plain and Dakota Plains, for having back-to-back powwows. So you got to be in the region for a long time if you wanted to, and I understand they're both very successful, so great. Okay, Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just like to say that numerous events that I've been to have been absolutely terrific. The community is busy, vibrant, and lots of celebration events underway and going on, and more to come. But as a reminder, I just want to remind folks in terms of Waterworks that this is, and we're working at this being the final week of our water main flushing program. So just be aware, check out the website, make sure we'd like to get through it this week is the best we can, and we're working away at that, and reminders to those folks. So, and yeah, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to update council and the community about the aquatic harvesting program. The city's 2026 aquatic harvesting program has now been in operation approximately 35 working days and continues to make positive progress. Following the successful commissioning of the 2 aquatic harvesting machines in early June, staff completed the required operator training, licensing, equipment setup, and establishment of the shoreline stockpile areas. Operations have now transitioned from the initial learning and assessment phase into a more efficient harvesting program, with crews becoming increasingly familiar with the equipment capabilities, the navigation routes, and areas of the greatest vegetation density. During the first month of operations, harvesting efforts have focused on the northwest areas of the Crescent Lake with the highest concentrations of aquatic vegetation. As anticipated in the first year of the program, additional time has been required to identify submerged hazards, establish safe operating routes, and evaluate weed growth patterns. These observations have proven valuable and will help refine future harvesting schedules, improve operational efficiency, and support that long-term vegetation management planning. Productivity has continued to improve as staff gain experience operating the specialized equipment. The program is already providing noticeable benefits to the community by improving navigability throughout the lake, enhancing the appearance of the waterfront, and removing significant quantities of aquatic vegetation before it can decompose and negatively affect water quality. The harvesting program also supports recreation boating, paddling, fishing, and other water-based activities while contributing to the overall health and enjoyment of the Crescent Lake. So operations remain on schedule and continue to be funded with the approved 2026 Public Works operating budget. Staff will continue harvesting in the southern area of the Crescent Lake for a few more weeks, weather permitting. At the conclusion of the season, administration will complete a comprehensive review of the program, including productivity, operating costs, lessons learned, and recommendations to further enhance the city's aquatic harvesting program in future years. And that's my report.
Thank you. I do like to see on the Kayak Manitoba page when people say they've kayaked the Crescent recently and had good things to say about our weed harvesting and removal. So we know that will continue in time to come. So thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, just have a couple more
Sure.
things. I wanted to mention some of the community events that Councillor Massey had mentioned, but there was one that I attended, which was the graduation of the Wings graduation from our 3 Canadian Forces Flying Training School. And the recipient, I was very honored to be there. It was Commandant's Kim. It was her last supper there, and so it was great to spend some time with her and have that little goodbye wishes to her, as well as the recipient of the award. And the award was given to Captain Fred Lucas. And Fred Lucas got this award for the spirit of the community, in spirit of the community, and recognizes the students who have dedicated time and effort beyond the course to benefit and improvement of the 3 CFFTS and our host communities. And I always like to have a little chat with the family of the winner of this award, and he find some fun facts about him and to say about him. But his name is Captain Fred Lucas, and he's posted to 408 Tactical Helicopter Squadron at CFB Edmonton, and he's going to fly the CH-146 Griffin. Little fun fact about him: he was a juggler, a professional juggler. And do you know professional jugglers make great pilots because they've got to multitask and whatever. So yeah, I mean, nobody knew that about him, and so they threw a couple balls at him one time, and yeah, he's shown what he had. And so the other thing is the parents truly believe that he was a great pick for, of course he would because of the parents, but a great, well-deserved recipient of this award, because he's the kind of person that likes to fill in the gap. If he sees when he's working and flying with his fellow officers, or they're training, or they're doing new things, tactical, if he thinks that there's a gap somewhere, he's the kind of guy that wants to fill it. And so congratulations, Captain Fred Lucas.
Nice. Maybe we should go ask fun facts when they get here, because we could use them for some children's entertainment, the juggler. Now we lost that opportunity. So, excellent. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report, but if I could just add on to what Councillor Espy said about the Dakota Plains powwow. One takeaway I really got from it is when Chief Smoke had introduced Councillor Espy and I, he didn't say our neighbors or our friends, he said our partners. And I think that was really telling. We see them as partners, and it's nice that they acknowledged us as partners as well in front of their community. But it was really neat to see all the food trucks, the vendors, and important to note that they put this together in about 3 weeks, sort of unannounced. So they had a really good turnout, hundreds of people, lots of dancers. It was during that heat wave. So props to all the dancers for wearing all that gear and dancing around the way they did. And congrats to the Smoke family and Dakota Plains for such a successful event.
Excellent. Thank you. Just under public safety, I just have a question of administration. I was kind of hoping to see our vehicle for hire bylaw on this meeting, but haven't seen it yet. So could I just get an update on that?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yep, our team has been working very hard on this the last couple of months. We are very, very close to having it ready. It will be coming to the September 8th council meeting. We just needed our manager of public safety to help us do a final review of some of the enforcement provisions to make sure that it makes sense practically for their department. So we're looking forward to that.
And that will be first reading, correct?
Yeah, first reading of the bylaw will be September 8th, and then we'll be looking at doing some consultations with affected businesses on the bylaw as well. There's always an opportunity for the public to give feedback to council after first reading, and then we would take that, make any changes necessary, and potentially have second, third reading at the end of September.
Excellent. So maybe our chamber liaison could let the chamber know that that's coming, because it's definitely been on every one of our meeting agendas that we've had with them since for a long time. So thank you for that. Just under my report, as you know, I've been away for health reasons for a few weeks and here tonight, but going away for the continued health reasons for a little bit longer after tonight. But I just want to say thank you for everybody for stepping up and, you know, going to events and representing us so well. Summer's always fun in our region, and getting to go to all these things is pretty great. So thank you to everyone, and we will continue on. Thank you. We'll adjourn committee at 7:32. Oh, lastly, for those of you watching live, we've had some stuttering of the recording. IT has let us know, so just so you know, there will be a recording put on YouTube tomorrow that you'll be able to watch the whole thing. So in case you're wondering what's happening there. Thank you. Adjourned.